It's not easy for me to say, but I was wrong about Kid Rock. This is a video of myself playing Bawitdaba, one of my least favorite songs ever, aboard Shiprocked 2023 and clearly having a pretty damn good time. What changed me? How did I get here? Let's talk about that. Oh, and I also got to perform One by Metallica with Randy Blythe from Lamb of God and David Ellefson, formerly of Megadeth. We'll talk about that too. Well, ahoy there kids, it's your good buddy, Uncle Ben Eller, and I have just returned from a voyage at sea, melting faces across the Bahamas aboard Shiprocked, the world's premier rock and roll heavy metal cruise fun time. I've done these gigs in the past as a part of Andy Wood's solo band. My hair metal tribute band Skankbanger did one early 2020. And this year, I was also appearing with Andy and the Stowaways. Now, if you don't know, the Stowaways is the once-a-year mega jam that only takes place on Shiprocked. It's kind of like a supergroup comprised of some of the sickest musicians that are on the boat. Now, in the past, every single song that was performed on these special shows was put together of a completely different group of musicians. So you'd have this guy from this band on drums, this guy on guitar, this guy on bass, and then the next song would be a completely different lineup. But this year they wanted to try something a little different. In order to help cut down on rehearsal times and speed up changeovers in between songs, this year they wanted myself, Andy Wood, Andy Campbell, and keyboard player Tyson Leslie to be kind of the nucleus of the Stowaways band. And as the show went on, different guitar players, singers, etc. would come up and join us for their tunes. I played bass for most of it, but if there was an artist that wanted to play bass on a tune, I would simply change over to guitar. This seemed like a really fun project, and then I saw the list of artists I was going to get to perform with, and I got way stoked about it. David Ellefson, who played on all those classic Megadeth albums, Randy Blythe from Lamb of God, Corey Glover from Living Colour, Ron Bumblefoot Thal from Guns N' Roses, Phil Demmel from Machine Head, Lacey Sturm from Flyleaf, Jason Hook, formerly of Five Finger Death Punch and like a million other bands, my buddy Leo over there at Frog Leap Studios, and a ton of other awesome performers. And I'll tell you who else is amazing. Everybody who supports my channel over on my Patreon page at patreon.com/Ben Eller Guitars. Sign up today even for just $1 a month. You're going to get access to a ton of bonus videos, downloadable tabs, and so much more. This week I'm also going to be putting up an extra long cut of this video to everybody who supports my channel, so don't delay, sign up today. Gear-wise for this video, I'm going to be playing the newest addition to my little guitar flock here. This is a Dunable Minotaur. This thing showed up while I was on the boat, and it has been in my mitts ever since. This is one of the USA models, and it is amazing. I'm in love with this guitar. And I'm playing that through my EVH 5153. We requested EVHs as our backline on the ship, and they performed amazingly, because of course they did. And bass-wise for the boat, I brought along my trusty Suhr J Classic Antique. Today I'm playing that through basically just a DI on the Axe Effects with a couple pedals in front that I'll explain as I go. So there were two separate lists of covers that we were supposed to learn. One of them was mainly like 90s and early 2000s, kind of standard fare rock stuff. And the other set was more revolutionary themed songs to go along with the theme of the boat. Found out we were going to be playing Unchained with Ron Thal, so of course I was pretty stoked about that one. Killing in the Name Of on there for one of my bass tunes. We'd be playing that one with Phil Demmel, Jason Hook, and Hyro the Hero on vocals. Some of those that run forces, or the safe that burn crosses. Some of those that run forces, or the safe that burn crosses. Now they do what they told you. Now you do what they
they told you. Now you do what 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 they told you.
Then there was a handful of other songs on the list that, I can't lie, I wasn't exactly stoked about. Prime of which being Bawitdaba by Kid Rock. Sorry to all you hardcore fans of the Kid out there, but some of those riffs just don't exactly get me fired up. Not gonna lie, wasn't very excited about that one, but we're all pros, so we all took the material really seriously and learned it as comprehensively as possible. So we boarded the ship, and then the next morning we had our first rehearsal. Now each one of the two shows had its own rehearsal, and the first one that we did went with the standard set, which of course included Bawitdaba. So I was playing bass on this tune, and joining us on guitar was Phil Demmel. Now I'd been in touch with Phil for a while, but this is the first time that we'd actually gotten to hang out and stuff, and that dude rules. You look at his resume and there's no wonder he's gotten all those different gigs. The guy's an amazing player and just a great guy to be around. So that got me really fired up right away. But then when I started getting surprisingly riled up to play this song is when our frontman stepped up, which was Chris Fronzak from the band Attila. Okay, so I understand he's a controversial figure among some people. Frankly, honestly, I don't know that much about that guy. I've never really listened to his band that much. I know that he's pretty popular and everything. But he was doing vocals on this tune, and he came to rehearsal fired up. Even when we were just practicing the tune, he came in with so much energy and so much authority and took it so seriously that, I don't know, I couldn't help but get into it. Later on in the week, he found a passenger on board that just happened to have a white fur coat, and he borrowed it from him. That way he could kind of imitate the look and stuff, because he was just getting fully in character, fully entrenched in the Kid, so to speak. And dude, like I said, I think it's a really stupid song. I was not excited to play it, but just the energy that all these guys brought to it got me into it. And this is something that I have discovered over the years. The first time I ran into this is when I started playing a lot of country gigs and stuff. I've never really been much of a country music fan, but as soon as I got on stage with some of these monster players that just eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff, I found myself really getting into it. What I found is that I just love playing with really good players that really give a shit about what they're doing on stage. Moral of the story here is that sometimes it's not even so much what you're doing, but who you're doing it with that makes things awesome. So the next time something heads down your way that seems like it might not be in your area of expertise or interest, give it another consideration if the other people that are on board are amazing players who really care about the project. Might just change your mind about stuff. I still don't like Kid Rock though. Pretty rugged bass tone, right? So for the gig, I knew I'd have Ampeg SVTs backlined, but I brought a little pedal board that I made at home, the two most important components of which were my Tech 21 Sans amp. I've used that on like 80 billion bass gigs. It's always the right answer. As well as this Wampler Rat's Bane distortion pedal. Now this is a Rat copy that was made for guitar, and I just brought it along for bass on a whim. I'd never used it for bass before at all. Just figured it might come in handy for some of the really heavy tunes on there. And as soon as I plugged it in at rehearsal, my mind was blown. It sounded so massive. Like everybody on the boat was asking what I was using for bass tone, and it's really just those two things. By the way, most of the live clips that I've been showing you guys, I ripped from Katherine Keller's YouTube channel. She was on Shiprocked and got great footage of almost all of both sets. So be sure to head over to her channel and watch all of them and say thanks for putting them up. I'm actually going to message you right now on Facebook Messenger and see if I can get a hold of you and make sure that this is okay. See what happens. Okay, you said it's cool. Thanks, Katherine. Another one that turned out surprisingly awesome because everybody stepped up to the plate was our version of Fight the Power. Now, if you know the tune, there's not really a band on it, right? So myself and Andy Wood and Andy Campbell, we just kind of had to try to make up our own version of how this might work with a live rock band behind it and Hyro the Hero on vocals. So what we came up with was to do something that was kind of funky, chili peppersy in the verses.
Another summer. Sound of a fucking drummer. Music in your heart because I know you got soul. Brothers and sisters, listen as I spin y'all. Keep what I'm giving. Get what you get. Knowing what I know with. On the back band, sweat to the rhythm I'm rolling.
And then whenever it gets to the Fight the Power part in the choruses, go full on Rage Against the Machine mode.
In order to fight the power that's in them as they fight the power. Them as they fight the power. We gotta fight the power that be them as they fight the power. Them as they.
But even though our arrangement was pretty cool at rehearsals, when it was just me and Andy and Cam, without any vocals or anything, we still weren't really sure if it sounded all that cool. But as soon as Hyro showed up to rehearsals, he brought so much energy. He knew every single word of the song, which is a lot, off the top of his head, and just brought this like ferocity to it that made the whole thing sound amazing. I was like instantly super stoked about it. I thought it was maybe even a song that would get cut from the set, but as soon as we played it with him, I was like, this is going to be one of the highlights, and I was not wrong. It was amazing. Also, speaking of highlights, it's not every day that you find yourself playing One by Metallica alongside Randy Blythe from Lamb of God and David Ellefson that played on all the classic Megadeth records. And, you know, again, no pressure scenario there, right? Perform like the heavy metal Stairway to Heaven. You get one practice before you do it, one shot to do it on stage. No big deal. A lot of those tunes featured some slap bass stuff, which I was excited to work on because I never really get to do a lot of slap stuff live. Another one that featured a ton of that was the Korn cover of Word Up by Cameo that we did with Corey Glover from Living Colour. And Jason Hook on guitar, who is a monster guitar player and a great hang. It was an absolute blast for me, but it's not because of the material that was chosen. It was because of the people that I was performing it with. Huge thanks to Andy Campbell, Andy Wood, our man Tyson Leslie who sat in on keys, as well as all the other Stowaways from the other bands that were on board. You guys made this absolutely awesome. I can't thank you enough for doing your homework, learning the tunes, and making it easy for everybody involved. Also, huge thanks to all the people from Ask4 that put on Shiprocked and all the amazing, amazing crew of engineers, sound guys, everybody else that made this thing run so smoothly. Seriously, you guys are the real heroes here. This could not have happened without you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I had a blast making it and performing on Shiprocked. It was seriously killer. They've already announced like dates and stuff for next year. I don't think they have a lineup announced yet, but I'm sure there'll be some really cool stuff on it, so hopefully I will see you guys there. If you liked what you saw in this video and you want to see even more of it, be sure to sign up today to that Patreon page at patreon.com/Ben Eller Guitars. Yep, support the channel and you get access to all kinds of bonus goodies, even for just $1 a month. Thanks again for watching. Like the video, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff, and tune in next time. Let's click it. more picking.